And it's 12:05 in the afternoon on this Wednesday. Helping Seniors of Brevard gets underway. Always happy to have the show here on Wednesday afternoons. I'm John Harper. Jim Vocho is with me. Artica the Wonder Dog is here as well. And we've got the host of Helping Seniors of Brevard and the executive director as well. As I always like to say, it's a kind of a BOGO that we get here on the radio program. And let me introduce to you none other than Kerry Fink. Kerry, hi, and I think you're just back from seeing the Beach Boys, right?
Yeah, it was a great show on Sunday night, let me tell you. And they were playing here last night. We got to talk with one of the guitarists, actually John Wiedemeyer, who's the lead guitarist for the Beach Boys. And he goes, like, you guys should come see us in Tuesday night, because they played the show last night at the King Center, and it was a terrific show. You know, we always talk about how when you play the theme music for the Helping Seniors radio show, how everybody starts dancing along with it. Well,
Right.
Beach Boys is kind of that same thing, right? It was fun.
Well, with the Beach Boys, hold on. What, Jim?
Hopi Rhonda.
Absolutely.
Yes. With the Beach Boys, what do you have? Two surviving original members?
So it is actually Mike Love, who is one of the founding members. He is there. His son, Christian Love, plays. They are so Mike is the only surviving member of the original Beach Boys. But the fun part was John Stamos from Full House. Everybody remembers him as Uncle Jesse. He's out there playing guitar, and he's like the honorary Beach Boy. And these guys,
Al Giro.
So I know who you're speaking about. He was not part of it. He sometimes tours on his own, but he was not part of the event on or at least the lineup that they had for us on Sunday night.
Because he was one of the founding members, right?
Yeah. I think those are the two surviving folks.
Surviving.
But boy, that music lives on forever. It was like, you know, they had 4,500 people. It was a packed house there at the Bayside Stadium in Orlando, and it was just a party from the beginning to the end.
Everybody loved it.
It was great.
Was there an opening act?
No, that was them. They came out, and their set list, because remember in those days, top 40 radio, you remember this, John, all the songs were really short, so they could pack a lot of songs into about a 2-hour set. It was terrific. And I kept thinking, we talk about how age really is just a number. And so we always talk a lot about how seniors should not be categorized as not being able, because here is Mike Love, 85 years old. He just celebrated his 85th birthday, and there he is up on stage doing his thing, sounding great. It was terrific.
Fantastic. I know I told you this story. Jim Votro's heard it 30 seconds, but back when I started in music radio at WLCY Fun Radio for Great Tampa Bay, we brought the Beach Boys in. That's when they were all there.
Right.
And I remember going backstage and then going beyond backstage into the parking lot where people were hanging out. And I remember this one girl walks up to me, and I thought, great, they're walking up to me, and hey, this is pretty cool. And this girl asked me, are you anybody?
Last time I checked, just not one of the singers in the Beach Boys, that's all.
That's my Beach Boys story. But anyway.
It was great, and it was fun. And, I really think about this a lot. It was a year or so back, we got to see Smokey Robinson do a concert at 83, and here is Mike Love of the Beach Boys fronting the Beach Boys at 85. And the crowd went wild. Everybody was singing along, just having a party. We were talking about it afterwards. It was a really happy show, just a nice, fun show. So, speaking of all things that are fun and good for seniors, that's what we want to talk about today. I am so excited because I love it when we have great experts in the house, because I don't have to try to be smart. Just ask people who know more than I do. And one of those, we're going to talk about employment and seniors, or as we titled the show, Purposeful Work for Seniors, because we are celebrating, and do I have this right? It's National Older Americans Employment Week. Is that correct?
National Older Workers Employment Week.
Ah, that was the voice of Lois Thomas with CareerSource Brevard Flagler Volusia. Welcome to the show. Somebody that really knows a thing or two about senior employment, because you've worked with the Back to Work ARP program for years and years, and we're going to really dive into what workforce opportunities look like for seniors. And then another great friend of Helping Seniors, she's been involved with Helping Seniors almost since the day that Joe started this. And she herself is not only a great resource for seniors, but she's a great employment resource for seniors because she hires seniors to help seniors. We're talking about Jennifer Barton, who is the owner of Seniors Helping Seniors. Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
Hello, wonderful. It's great to be here.
This is going to be a good conversation. Before we dive into the conversation, I want to give you a second to grab a notepad and maybe something to jot down, or if you do this on your tablet or however high-tech we are these days, just make sure because I'm going to give you a couple of dates that I want you to think about. And then you're also going to want to keep that handy because I bet you're going to hear some stuff today that is going to help you along the way. Let me preface this by saying we get a lot of calls. We took over 4,500 calls again last year on the Senior Information Helpline. So I'm going to start by giving that number so you have it. Anything that you hear today, you say, oh, you guys went by that too quick. I got a question. Call Nancy or one of our great volunteers at 321 473 7770. 321 473 7770. That is the Senior Information Helpline. So anything that you might come up with a question, that's a great number for you to just have in your back pocket or stick it on your refrigerator or something like that. But the point was, we get a lot of calls from seniors looking for ways to manage their finances better. And so one of the solutions oftentimes could be maybe go back to work, because it's not only the money, but it could be that it gives you a sense of purpose and all those kind of things. And I really want us to dive into that. Before I get there, though, let me give you a couple of dates that I'd like for you to jot down and consider. Tomorrow is fourth Thursday of the month. And so what does that mean? That means we do Knowledge College for Aging, and we do the Wellness Series at our Senior Resource Center. That's our location. They call it the Omni Building. I think the official name of the building is the Apollo Professional Tower. That sounds very Space Coast-ish. And we're on the second floor, and they gave us a big space there. So we try to take as much advantage of that as we can. And we do every fourth Thursday, we do Knowledge College for Aging at 10 a.m. And then we do a wellness series at 11 a.m. And we invite people to just basically come out and spend the morning with us. There's snacks, it's free. We got a lot of resource tables there, so you can get some good information while you're there. There's always door prizes, and most importantly, there's good information. So tomorrow morning, you're going to hear at Knowledge College, you're going to hear from Craig Lansing with Janney Roofing. Now, this is important because you'll see all these TV ads that pop up all the time. Somebody's telling you got to call a roofer out to check your roof. Maybe they say there was hail damage or things like that. And the problem is, anytime you call somebody up, they're going to tell you they need a new roof, period, right? I mean, that's their job. So you're going to get some tips on how to know when a roof repair is appropriate and how to know when you might actually need to do the roof and what kind of help you might be able to get for those things. So this is going to be an important conversation. The other thing is, you see these ads on national news all the time where they're talking about, oh, you could replace your doors and windows and this could be a great investment for us. Well, he's going to address that too and share when it can be a smart move and, things to watch out for that. So that's 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we have Dr. Kevin Kilday and Dr. Mike Edwards, who are two of the professors with the Faith College of Natural Health. And if you were listening last week, both of them were in the studio and they were talking. We had a great conversation, and the talk that Dr. Mike is going to give tomorrow is actually about memory. And so this is really going to be, what can you do holistically that will help your memory? And he's given this talk a number of times. They said it always gets a lot of good attention and questions. So that's tomorrow at 11. So that's tomorrow at the Helping Seniors Resource Center. I'm going to give you the address if you can jot it down, 1344 South Apollo Boulevard. Again, we call it the Omni Building because that's what it says on the side of it. It's Apollo Professional Tower, second floor. Come in. You are welcome. Also, on Saturday, I would be remiss, and we're going to bring this up again at the end of this, we are starting to move into car raffle season because we are now, this is hard for me to imagine, this is going to be our 10th annual Helping Seniors car raffle. And once again, AJ has stepped up. He's giving us the 7 cars that everybody loves to pick from. Last year, our winners, Tom and Patty Cabana, they selected a Kia. If you remember before, Jim Newman from Cocoa, he wanted that Chevy Colorado truck. We've given away Kia Sportages. We've given away Mitsubishi Outlanders. Jennifer, as you know, we've given away Dodge Challengers. It's still not back, though, but hopefully we have the Dodge Hornet. And it was funny. I was reviewing a thing that we had done a couple years ago where you guys were racing cars around Mark Pylock's test track at the American Muscle Car Museum. and you actually gave the Dodge Hornet very high marks. You said it was still your pick.
It's a really comfortable car, but it also has a lot of pickup. It's got a very cool engine in it, so it's a fun car to drive.
Yeah, so you get your choice when you win. The date, you want to get this on your calendar, save the date, October 25th. We're going to have a Sunday afternoon at the museum, and what we did last year worked out really well, so we're going to basically build on that. Which is, of course, you get your tickets, you get to come inside, see Mark's collection, which is always fun. Even if you've been there last week, it doesn't matter because he probably added cars since then. Jennifer, I remember the very first car raffle that we had out there, and he had like maybe 200 cars in there, and now there's 500. It's unbelievable.
Oh, there's literally cars stacked up on cars on cars. So and they do change things around too. So I remember going in and saying, "Wait a minute, this car wasn't here," and he said, "Oh yeah, it was." But it was in a different spot, so I think it just hit differently.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
every time you go, you see something new.
Yeah, and then last year we had a lot of fun because they gave us permission to put a car show outside as well. So we asked our great friend Bill Antonetz, who does all these great shows. He does the Cavalry Chapel every third Saturday. They call it Pistons and Praise or something like that. It's fun. But they get like 500 cars to come out for that. And so he's built up a big thing that happens in the parking lot. And because it's the last Sunday in October, we're making a fall festival out of it. And so Bill tells all his kids to load up, all his car kids, the people that own the cars, to load up their trunks with candy. And so they say, kids, come out, bring your bag, go home with a bunch of candy and have a nice time as well. So there's stuff indoors and outdoors. But this Saturday, I'm talking about the 28th, we are going to be out at the American Muscle Car Museum from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's kind of like part of our kickoff for the whole season of this, because the Antique Auto Club of Cape Canaveral does a huge show. It's probably the largest show. If it's one of, certainly if it isn't, it's like absolutely one of the top shows. They'll have so many cars out there, so many people, so much fun out there, and they always are kind to invite us out. So we will be out there as Helping Seniors, hawking our Helping Seniors car raffle tickets. And that, by the way, is fully up online. You can go get your tickets. If you want to be like first in line because you think that's lucky, then do it. So you can go to helpingseniors.carraffle.com. Order your tickets right now. It's an online process. We're excited about how it's all going to work this year. We had so much fun last year, and they gave us permission to amp it up even farther this year. So those are kind of the announcements. Let's get into talking about purposeful work for seniors. And, it's interesting because each time that we get ready for radio, I'm emailing Jennifer going like, okay, what do you think would be a good thing for us to talk about? And you hit on the fact that this would be really the right time to talk about senior employment because they actually named the week for it, right? And so you are a person that really exemplifies what that's all about. Talk to people. Maybe they don't understand. I know people get us confused a lot. They go, what's Helping Seniors? Seniors Helping Seniors. Helping Seniors is a charity that was founded by Joe Steckler 15 years ago. And what we do is we answer the county senior information helpline, try to do a lot of education. But you are part of an international network that is called Seniors Helping Seniors. And you have organizations all around the world that do what you do. Talk about what you do.
So I'm still tickled about the international part. We do have one in Malaysia and about 8 now in England.
Wow.
So we are officially international. And the people in England are absolutely wonderful. We mainly do hire seniors to go out and help seniors. Our name is exactly what we do. And we have a lot of fun doing it. Most of the folks that work for us have retired. They fooled around for a couple of years and they want to do something meaningful. They want to continue to have purpose, feel like they're helping someone. They want to keep busy. The extra money doesn't hurt, especially in today's economy with gas prices being the way they are right now. So, some of it really is helping supplement their Social Security. But we are putting seniors to work, keeping them social, keeping them active. And we're going out and helping seniors that need just a little bit of help so we can help them stay at home where they want to be.
I've always had a little bit of the difficulty with the word retirement. I think Joe Steckler, who founded this organization, certainly had that issue as well. He was 90, and literally the day before he went on to be with the Lord, he was like, "Kerry, we got to do more for seniors." That's just who Joe Joe was. And the point being, though, that sometimes it isn't about Joe was, he had had a full career. He was a captain, retired as a captain in the Navy. He'd commanded submarines all over the world, all kinds of things. He didn't need to work when he retired, but he chose to, and he chose to do it in a way that made a difference. And I love something you've said a lot. I love to quote it as you say, you love to find somebody that has the heart of a volunteer, but doesn't mind accepting a paycheck.
Exactly. And a lot of our caregivers, we call them providers, will come back to us after they worked for a couple of weeks and say, oh my gosh, I almost feel guilty because I feel like I'm getting more out of this than I'm actually giving. And that's perfect. That's exactly what we want to hear. Because it really is, when you give, you receive.
Yeah.
And that is so true. So it is a very uplifting part-time job for a lot of our seniors.
Yeah.
And, in other countries, I was watching a program on blue zones and the places where people live to 100 or past 100 on a regular basis. And there are cultures that they don't have a word for retirement.
Right.
You're not retired. That isn't even a word. It is more of you have a change in purpose. You still have a purpose. It's just your purpose is changing as you get older. And I love that idea.
Oh, I like that. Lois, you as a person that have for years been very invested in in helping seniors find the right way to get back to work. Sometimes they come to you because they just flat need it. There's an economic reason for a lot of us. That's why we do go to work, because let's be honest, the FPL bills don't stop, right? You have to keep something going. But there are also people who come to you just because they're looking for wow, I don't want to sit at home and, quote, watch TV all day. Tell me a little bit about what you've experienced along the way helping seniors find meaningful work as they get older.
Absolutely, Kerry. And thank you again for having me on today's broadcast. But I have seen older adults that have transitioned back in the workforce. And you mentioned some because they want to. And I would say fairly recently, we have many because they have to, just based on today's economy. Jennifer, you mentioned the gas prices, but it's also other things as well, such as housing. So with them returning to work, it gives them an opportunity to help support themselves. So that way they're more self-sufficient and also self-reliant. And so when we think about purposeful or meaningful work, that may be different depending on the individual. Mm-hmm. So when I'm working with a job seeker, I want to know, ideally, where do they see themselves now? And also what type of employment opportunities would be most beneficial for them. And then we work together to see what would be best. And we provide resources as well. We do have our Back to Work 50 Plus program, and it's supported by the generous support of the AARP Foundation to assist job seekers obtain the tools and the resources and the skills that they need to be successful in their job campaign. So we help with everything from resume writing, from interview assistance, to educate them on how to combat age discrimination and so much more. We want to overall get them to the point where they feel job ready, and not just that, but confident in marketing their skills to the employer.
That's so important, because I guess the world has shifted so much since many people that are retired or have been, maybe they retired from a company where they put in their resume, 40 years ago. They've just not been on the job market ever since. And so we have no idea how far things have changed. We still think you type a resume according to a certain thing, and then you go sit down and have an interview. And that's not normally how it's done today, right?
Not at all. And Jennifer, I see you were to the mic to speak to that. Go.
Sarah, I remember when my oldest was starting to look for a job, and my mom said, well, Daniel, just go out there and start putting some applications in. There are no paper applications anymore, Grammy. It's not like that. Right. Everything is online. So if you are a senior who doesn't have a computer at home or a tablet, and you're trying to work from a cell phone to put an application in, that could be really difficult. So yeah, things have changed a lot.
And to add to that, we had someone share not too long ago that the last time they had to look for work, they were able to just look through the want ads. And so we know that's completely different now. And then we also have things like AI, which is pretty much taking over the way that we look for work and how to customize our resume and things of that nature, and even how employers find qualified talent. So much has changed throughout the years. And so that's why a program like Back to Work 50 Plus is designed to equip our job seekers with what has changed and also how they can best market themselves for the opportunities that are out there, because it's an ever-changing job market.
You know, I don't want to take us down this rabbit trail completely, but I feel like this is a good moment to inject this. You know, you have actually helped us. We do a program together with AARP called Scam Jam, and we're actually doing our next one is going to be May 15th, Friday, May 15th. At the Brennedy at Melbourne, which is actually in Vieira. So go figure that one out. But it's going to be a full day where we get everybody educated on how to avoid scams. And Lois, you have come and shared at the various scam jams about being careful about employment scams. So this is another thing that's very important, that people talk to somebody, especially if they're re-entering the marketplace, to talk to somebody with that level of expertise to make sure that something that they got via email or something that they've applied for online is in fact a legitimate job and not a ripoff attempt.
Absolutely. We are seeing such an increase in job scams. I would say it started for me. I've seen an increase of it since 2020. And we know what happened during that time period. We had that break where we had the pandemic and a lot of jobs transitioned to where we see them being offered online. So with that came, of course, an increase in job scams, and we're still seeing it to this day. I unfortunately have assisted customers who have been victims of job scams.
Wow.
And so that's why for me, it's my passion to educate them on what to avoid, different things to look for so that they won't fall victim to job scamming. And it can happen in so many different ways, text message, emails. We had a young lady not too long ago. She received an email referring to a quote unquote job. And the employer, when I looked at the email address, it was a Gmail.
Wow.
And I said, if it's an employer, they should be emailing you from a company syntax.
Yeah.
So say, for instance, my email address is lthomas@CareerSource BFV. The company name is in that email. So I shared with her, there's several things that you have to look for to make sure that you're not falling victims to employment scams.
Yeah, this is a good conversation we're having with Jennifer Barton, who is the owner of Seniors Helping Seniors, and also Lois Thomas, who is with CareerSource Brevard Flagler Volusia. And we were going to continue the conversation and really dive into what kind of opportunities are out there for seniors in the workforce that are meaningful and such like that. So stay tuned for the second half of Helping Seniors Radio.
Listening to Helping Seniors of Brevard, the program heard every Wednesday, 12 noon to 1 o'clock, right here on 90.3 FM. Right now, let's get back to more of the show. Good conversation going. Here's the host of Helping Seniors of Brevard and the executive director as well, Kerry Fink. Kerry?
Hey, thanks, John Harper. It's always so good to be here on the radio, 90.3 FM, WEJF. Thanks if you're listening online at WEJF.net. And if you're catching this as a podcast, we always make these available wherever you find podcasts, Apple iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Good Pods, Amazon Music. Wherever you find a podcast, you'll find Helping Seniors Radio, because particularly with a topic like we're having today, purposeful work for seniors, people will find stuff like they'll look for stuff like, okay, I'm job seeking or something like that. And then this will all of a sudden pop up on the radar screen. Or maybe somebody is driving in their car and say, oh, this would be perfect. Bob should hear this. And then they can send Bob the link and Bob can learn about purposeful work for seniors. And we have a couple of people in the studio who are great friends of Helping Seniors, but also maybe much more importantly, they are experts in this whole area. Jennifer Barton, who is the owner of Seniors Helping Seniors, who hires seniors to help seniors, is with us. Welcome back, Jennifer.
Thank you.
And Lois Thomas of CareerSource Brevard Flagler Volusia, who is very much invested in all the things and helps us a lot with the AARP's Back to Work 50 Plus program and so many things that are good resources for seniors. In fact, maybe we just start there, Lois, if you don't mind, maybe share some of the, you've got some events coming up. We've got some things that are important that seniors, let's just start right there and have you share that. And then we can kind of dive into the rest of the conversation, because we really want to get people to call, like a call to action. Let's not just talk through this. Let's do something. Let's see if we can find a good way to improve your income. And I really think if you're doing something you enjoy, you're going to improve the quality of your life too. So, Lois, with that.
Absolutely. And Kerry, thank you again for the opportunity to share on some of the upcoming events that we have going on at CareerSource Brevard Flagler Volusia. The first that I'll share is our Reentry Employment and Resource Fair. This opportunity is for individuals who do have some justice involvement. However, it's open to all job seekers, and that's going to be on April 23rd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Vieira Community Center. Now, we also have a virtual job fair, a Super Tuesday virtual job fair that will be hosted on April 28th, and that will be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and it's hosted on our premier virtual platform. So it is a virtual job fair that our participants can engage in. And then lastly, we do have the Ask Recruiters Q&A panel discussion that will be hosted virtually on Microsoft Teams on April 30th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And for all of the events and more resources and information and actually workshops that are hosted throughout all of our centers and hubs and online, they can visit our website at CareerSourceBFV.com. Again, that's CareerSourceBFV.com. And for more information, they can also call us at 321-504-7600. That's 321-504-7600. And I do want to mention, Kerry, since the last time we spoke, we actually have 3 hubs that have been opened. And so we have not just our locations in Daytona Beach, Orange City, Palm Bay, Palm Coast, Patrick Space Force Base, and Titusville. We also have 3 hub locations at the Adult Education Clear Lake Talent Hub, and also the Eastern Florida State College and the Firehouse Talent Hub. So 3 hub locations in addition to our career centers as well.
That's good, because that means there's a lot of support and a lot of help available to folks. I had 2 questions about some of the events. First, I wanted to ask you about because I asked you actually about this during the break when I was asking about reentry employment. I know that some of us have goofed up early in life, and maybe we had something that we probably shouldn't have done, but it's still hanging around our record. This is an opportunity this is an opportunity for you to learn how to navigate the job and find employers that might be your reentry path. Am I saying that right?
Yes, that is correct. So employers participating at this event, these are employers that they will employ individuals with justice involvement. And not only that, in addition to the employers, there will also be resources as well. So it would be a great way for anyone who has justice involvement to attend the event, find out more information about resources, and then also speak to employers that are actively hiring. And with this event, it's not just for individuals with justice involvement. Someone who does not have justice involvement can still attend the event, connect with the employers, and also find out about different community resources as well.
Okay, and this is April 23rd, you said. So this is coming up, and it's right there in Vieira, right? So it's centrally located.
Yes, it's at the Vieira Community Center. That's 2300 Judge Fran Jameson Way, and that's in Melbourne, Florida.
Okay, and then the second thing I want to ask you about, because I thought this was pretty cool when you were talking about the virtual job fair. I thought that's unique. Can you just give an overview? Because one of the things we invest in a lot in helping seniors is, we now are part of the ARP Senior Planet. We're a licensed location, and so every second Friday, and it's actually going to ramp up as we go along this year, but every second Friday, Bree Prentice does a training session. In fact, the next one is going to come up in April. I think it's April 10th, if I have the date right in my head. She's going to talk about cloud storage. Everybody hears that term, but we're not sure what it means, and this is your opportunity to learn that. And so a lot of times, and I don't mean this wrong, but a lot of times we get calls on the Senior Information Helpline. These are people who are calling us because they either don't have computer access or don't know how to access. And of course, they're being asked or tasked to do something could be a medical appointment, could be anything, and they're being asked to do this. But this virtual job fair is a really cool sounding thing. How does that actually, I'm curious how that actually works.
So participants who are interested in attending the event, they can create an event where, or create a profile rather. They can add a resume to their profile. And on the day of the event, they can go to different virtual job booths and speak to the employer.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very unique. I absolutely love this concept. It's something that is in addition to our in-person job fair. This is just a unique offering with our virtual Super Tuesday job fair. Kimberly Weatherby at our office does an amazing job putting this together. And with this event on the 28th, we're actually going to feature BAC, Melbourne Flight Training, Foundever Health Furs, Army and Air Force Exchange, Brevard County Public Works, Devereaux Positive Behavior Supports, Brevard County Sheriff's Office, and also more employers will be added as well.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer Barton, Seniors Helping Seniors. That's something I've never heard of a virtual job fair, but it sounds pretty cool and pretty high tech, actually.
It does, and I think it would be fun to play around and just to kind of see how it works.
Yeah, it's got to be. We keep saying whenever we do our computer classes, because we say, like, look, it's not going to go backwards, right? It's not like you can stick your head in the sand and say, I don't want to learn how to use cloud storage or whatever. It's just the way that it is now. And so you might as well get in the pool, learn how to do it safely. That's very important because we talked about scams and stuff a little bit, leading into the mid-show break. But Jennifer, how do people get in touch with you? You're kind of like a very traditional, because you're very it's very important in your business that you find the right person to provide the right care. So I know you have to go to very good lengths to make sure that there's a good fit and all that. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. And because we are a little more traditional, we have no problem mailing an application to someone. So we have an online application that people can access right through a website. But it's not uncommon for me to email the link directly so that it makes it a little bit easier. Or sometimes if you are just using a phone to do an application, it can be difficult. We'll mail a paper application, or they can stop by and fill out the old-fashioned way, because we really are hiring seniors. So we try to make it easy for them to be able to get to us. But the position is one that we do have to make sure that they're very safe people. I always say that I don't want to hire someone that I wouldn't put my mom, put in my mom's house. But I also tell our providers that I'm not going to put them in a house I wouldn't put mom in.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways. We want everyone to be safe, caregivers and our clients. But what we do is the day-to-day things that people need. So we're going into a senior's home most of the time and providing services like transportation to and from doctor's appointments. We want to make sure they've got a good driving record. We also might make meals, do a little light housekeeping, do lots of companionship, really help people stay organized, stay social so that they can stay at home. So it is a wonderful position, but we do have to do background checks and different things to make sure that it is a very safe person to come in.
Yeah, I know it's not really the purpose of our program today, but I always love to give the caveat, because we did talk about scams a little bit. The first part, you got to be careful, because like you walk into a grocery store, or maybe go in to see a bulletin board on the library, and there's this card that says, I'll watch grandma. And then you call. But the problem is, even though the rate sounds really enticing or whatever, I have heard horror story after horror story. And one of the things that, because you run a tight ship with Seniors Helping Seniors, first of all, you're the employer. So everything falls up under your auspices to make sure you're getting the right person. And I've heard you, as we've done programs specifically about the caregiving side of what you do, how careful you are to make sure the personalities are working together well and it's the right fit for the family.
We really do go out of our way to make sure that we're matching, and that's kind of the fun part of our job is we get to play matchmaker. We come back, we go out, we do the assessment, we find all aspects of that client. Not only what do we need to do for them that's going to be helpful, but who are they and what are some of their interests, hobbies, where are they from originally, so that we can come back and we can match them with a caregiver. And when we try to get it right the first time. If it, for some reason, isn't a good match, we'll switch them out. But I think I might have mentioned last time I was here, I introduced a brand new caregiver and client. And the client got up to run into the bedroom to go get something to show us. And as we were sitting there, the caregiver looked at me and said, "Oh my gosh, I just love her. I hope she likes me." And it was so sweet. But that's the sentiment we want. She was already like, "Oh my gosh, this lady's going to be so much fun to play with. I can't wait, to do what I need to do for her." And that's what we hope for, because if the caregiver's having a really good time, the client's getting great service and the whole thing works. And that's, one of the things with employing older seniors. If you do sit home and you don't do anything and you become isolated and you're not social, that's horrible for your brain health.
Absolutely.
So even if, well, maybe I don't have to work, but a lot of people want to work because it gets them out, it gets them engaged with people. They're more active, they're more social. It is definitely a win-win.
Yeah. I was going to say Lois Thomas with CareerSource Brevard Flagler Volusia. To kind of build on what Jennifer was saying, I know, in her type of employment, it is literally kind of matchmaking, just like you said. You got to get the right person because they're going to be in such direct relationship with the person that they're caregiving, and that has to work. But even in your role, I think one of the things that it must make you smile when you see somebody land a role that is fulfilling for them, but yet it's exactly what that employer is trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. It's a win-win situation for me. And especially recently, we've had a lot of older adults that they have so much to give back and they want to make a tangible difference in their community. And so with that, being able to place them with the exact employer that they're interested in working for. And not only that, but they're also able to supplement the income that they already have. It's a win-win situation. I love to celebrate with them because there are times when we have older adults come into our office, and for me, particularly into my office space, and they almost feel hopeless. Like, is someone going to hire me? Because they have unfortunately experienced age discrimination.
Yes.
And it's been illegal since 1967, but Kerry, trust me,
still out there.
still happens today. In fact, 64% to 78% of individuals have experienced age discrimination or have seen it. And so with that, a lot of times that can leave somewhat of a bad impression with them. And so having them to be able to overcome that, work on tips, tools, and strategies to combat age discrimination and also to increase their confidence. Those are some of the things that I find rewarding. And I always share with them, your age is definitely not a liability, it's an asset. And always consider, what can you offer that employer? Because for some employers, they may not know that they are also partaking in age discrimination. So I also think that educating employers is essential as well, to ensure that they support a multi-generational workforce.
Wow, that's so well said. It makes me want to. Did you want to add something on that?
No, I just, there's, how you have an angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder. We hire seniors all the time and we love it, and we don't have the issues that I think, unfortunately, maybe other folks do, because our seniors are there 5 minutes early. They're always on time. They're always where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there. Maybe we have a little bit of a challenge with technology, but where it counts, they're with the client when they're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
That is not an issue. So that the other the devil on the other shoulder is like, no, don't tell anybody about how awesome seniors are to hire.
Well, that's a good point. Well, where I was going to circle back, and Lois, I was going to ask you about this, because I think a lot of times, and you touched on this, if you haven't been around the job force and maybe you feel like you're a little bit over the hill, like, oh, wow, I don't know if I can keep up with the pace, or, you have all these fears or doubts. This is one of the areas that you're really able to help seniors figure out how to put themselves in a position to win and be in the right place to find that right job. Talk a little bit about, if you're somebody that maybe hasn't worked for a period of time and you're just saying, like, okay, you guys are spurring me on, I should take a look at this. What do you recommend? What would be the next step you would say if I was sitting across the desk from you and saying, like, okay, I want to get back in, what should I do next?
So I would want to, again, just having an honest conversation with that individual. What skills do you currently have? Because we work with a variety of people who've worked from entry-level positions all the way to C-suite opportunities.
Wow. Yeah.
And just because they've worked in a C-suite role, that doesn't mean that that's what they want to do moving forward.
Right.
I've actually had candidates that say, Lois, I've told people what to do for years. Now I want someone to tell me what to do. So it really depends on what they desire at this stage in their career. So sitting down, speaking with them, identifying their skills, their strengths, what they would like to do moving forward. Also, when they would like to work, whether it's part-time, full-time, in the office, virtual, hybrid. These are all things that have to be discussed. Also, their level of comfort. Are they comfortable interviewing? Is that something that they need to work on? Do they have a resume? That's a huge deal. I know, Jennifer, you mentioned that earlier. But to make sure that they have an up-to-date resume, because we assist job seekers who may not have a resume. So working with them to put that together, because the individuals that come through our office, highly skilled, highly experienced, but is very diverse in terms of education as well. We have we work with those who have GEDs all the way up to PhDs. So it is very diverse. So sitting down, working with them, identifying what are their career goals, and then identifying an individual employment plan, which is a step-by-step action plan to help them achieve those employment goals.
So we are hiring right now for an office position, and so we, normally when I'm hiring a caregiver, they fill out an application, but for an office role, we're having people send us resumes. And to Lois's point, I can tell who has utilized Lois and her team versus those who have not. And I highly suggest you please reach out to them, because it really does make a big difference.
Absolutely. And I definitely have to give Jennifer her kudos, because she has participated in numerous Back to Work 50 Plus job fairs and recruiting events. In addition to, I think you also participated in some of our first Ask the Recruiters panel discussions.
Yes.
So I really do appreciate you for that. And I remember Jennifer actually came to my office one time to interview a potential job candidate.
Wow.
So even going the extra mile to assist participants, I really do appreciate you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And now that we've been there quite a bit, I noticed one of the last ones that one of the assisted livings was there with us. And I had never seen them before. So okay, they're getting clued into this. This is a good thing. And at the end, I walked over and said, how did you do today? What do you think? She said, oh my gosh, we are so excited. They were able to get so many great candidates just at that one fair. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of them.
I'm hoping so. Definitely hoping so.
Yeah, no, it's exciting to hear you guys talk about this, because one of the words that I always use, Lois, whenever I think about you, is I always think about FREE, because so people go, do I need to pay somebody to help me put my employment house in order, to help me figure this out? And yet the services you guys do are free, because at the end of the day, you're really helping the employers figure out how to get the folks that they need. Talk about that for just a second.
Absolutely. All of our services are free for job seekers and also free for businesses. So that's another factor. We do assist businesses throughout Brevard, Flagler, and Volusia with recruiting, retention, work-based training, workforce planning, rapid response, research and statistics. And then for job seekers, we offer job search assistance, employment counseling, resume development, interview skills and preparation, education, training, career workshops, job fairs, and so much more. So we do offer services for both job seekers as well as employers as well. And Kerry, before I forget, I want to touch on digital literacy skills, because that is so important. And kudos to you all for receiving the grant from the is it AARP or the AARP Foundation?
Well, this is actually through AARP directly, yeah.
Okay, so that's amazing. I'm so grateful that you are offering that, because digital literacy skills, it's something that you cannot avoid in today's day and age. And I would encourage everyone, embrace technology. Say it with me. Embrace technology.
Yes.
It's so important. And even for me, several years ago, I got with our communications team, and on our CareerSource Brevard Flagler Volusia website, there is a section on resources where we have digital literacy resources to include Skill Up I want to say Skill Up Brevard, but it's no longer Skill Up Brevard, but it's called Skill Up, and it offers over 7,000 free, FREE, free courses
Wow.
that participants can take advantage of
Wow.
at their own pace. So you can learn at your own pace over 7,000 free
Wow.
courses. And I would strongly recommend for everyone, if you have an opportunity, take some of the courses that are offered because it is very vital, especially at a time like this.
You know, I can always say it's never the wrong thing to invest in yourself, right? Like if you take these courses or you're busy improving, so you really can be, I know it sounds like a cliche, but the best you can be, because then you're more valuable to whoever you're trying to help, and you're going to be more valuable to that potential employer. It's just going to be good all the way around.
And learning something new is, again, very good for your brain health.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, how many times have we had these experts come in like Dr. Rosemary Laird and people who really, they're medically charged with focusing on brain health and things like that. And they tell you the more that I've heard physical therapists say the same thing. If you want to keep using it, keep it moving. And it's like with your brain, it's the same thing, I guess.
Absolutely. It really is. The studies are showing more and more that learning something new, not doing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
Like if you've always done crossword puzzles, then maybe that's not so great. But learning something new, like learning really how to use your cell phone
Yeah.
or how to utilize technology, if you're pushing your brain, that's a good thing. You're building your muscle.
I love it. So let's kind of wrap up with making sure everybody knows how to get in touch. So let's start with you, Lois Thomas, CareerSource Brevard Flagler Volusia. Best ways for people to follow up on today's radio show.
Absolutely. So the best way to get in contact with all things CareerSource Brevard Flagler Volusia, to include the Back to Work 50 Plus program, you can visit our website at CareerSourceBFV.com. That's CareerSource, B as in boy, F as in Frank, V as in Victor.com. Or you can also call us at 321-504-7600, or you can stop by one of our career centers, or hubs.
That sounds great. And Jennifer Barton, you just talked about you have office job available. You also are always looking for great caregivers. How do people follow up on all of this?
So you can reach us at the office at 321-722-2999. Again, that's 321-722-2999. Of course, we're active on social media, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. And online, seniorshelpingseniors.com/Brevard.
Jennifer Barton with Seniors Helping Seniors, and Lois Thomas with CareerSource Brevard Flagler Volusia. Great show. Thank you guys for sharing so much wisdom on all this. That's about the time we have for today. We'll be right back here next Wednesday. Make sure you're here at 90.3 FM WEJF. Join us for lunchtime hour right here on the radio. See you then.